Another Demis Hellen tutorial. We are looking at pads today as chosen by you. At the time of this video we had 47% of you saying that you wanted to see Uplifting Trance pads, and then followed closely by trance-based layering for 2019. So these videos are all going to get done. It's just which ones you choose first, and I add a new one to replace the one that's been taken from the poll. So these videos will get done, but you're choosing the order in which they get done. So without further ado, let's have a look at creating some uplifting pads. So I'm going to demonstrate this in Serum. It applies to any synth really. People are asking me, can you do it in this one, can you do it in that? The only difference between synths really is the sound engine and how it sounds and how it processes the sound, along with, like, Serum has 2 oscillators, Massive has 3. So things like Pluck Stars, I've been asked to recreate it in Hive and other things, and you can kind of do a variation of it, but you can't get that complexity that Massive can produce, and it just sounds so much nicer on Massive. But anyway, let's have a look at the pads. So first things first, we'll label this uplifting pads. Alright. And I just want to give a quick shout out to the chap that told me how to not copy the automation over, which was very helpful. So I'll put your name on screen now. I do know your name. It's John the Jinx. You said lock the automation layer and then resize or move the parts. So as you can see, I've locked this layer here on the Serum track as a result. So as an example, if you unlock it and you copy it over, it copies the automation with it. But if you lock that automation on both lanes and copy it over, it'll just copy the part. And then when you unlock it, it's no longer got any of that automation. So very handy tip. Thank you very much, John. Big help. Something that I should look into. It's the simplest of things, but thank you very much for sharing. Right, so we have uplifting pads. So I've got the layering ready. So just so you've got context of the sound, this is the melody. It's an arpeggio, but it's a melody. Okay, so we're looking at that one, and then I've just copied this into here. Let's just turn the volume down. So I hope it's uplifting enough to demonstrate this. Let's get started. So we're going to use 2 oscillators. I'm going to stick with the saw wave, but what we'll do is we'll go into the basic shapes, wavetable position. There we are. We're going to put the unison up to 16, and then we're going to mess around with the detune and blend here. So let's start with what it sounds like now. Okay, so let's just listen to the first oscillator. I want more, so what I'm doing here with the blend is making sure really the detune, the unison, is more powerful than the actual fundamental harmonic. So if let's look on here again. If we blend it right down to 0, it's going to let that that initial voice to come through with no unison voices at all, as it says there. But we're going to let oscillator A, we're going to let that filter through so the unison overtakes that sound, because there's a bit less detune, and because there's more detune on here, it sounds a little bit off when you crank up the blend further. So we'll have it so that the initial notes are kicking through before the unison. Right, so we've got a basic sound. We'll start messing around with some other things after, but this is just like a basic saw, like multi-saw thing. So let's get a low 24. We're going to route both through. Doesn't need a 24, I'd say it need a 12. Okay, so we've got something simple there, just so it's passing through the filter. Let's add some noise in there. We'll go to analog, bright white, and we'll send that through the filter as well. Add a little bit of brightness on the top. Okay, right, so pads tend to be more softly in. So, like envelope 1 is controlling everything, so you'd have this. So you can go the option of just controlling everything there, or we can use an envelope to control the cutoff. So it would go from low to high, and we could do the same again. But we don't want to do that, so let's remove all modulators. So we'll just go with the first envelope, and we're just going to we want to tailor it so it's sort of slow, but it's not too slow where it gets to the point where you can really tell it's a bit lagging behind. Just enough release to let it go down without creating any clicks and pops and stuff. That's the basic thing of the saw pad done. We'll just throw some reverb on here. We're gonna cut the highs a little bit, just cut the lows, size, decay. Let's just try a bit more decay on there. Okay, that's sounding okay there. We can add a bit of flange on there. Just to add some movement in there. Let's do it to the BPM. Do it over 4 bars. Just add some movement back and forth. We're not going to put delay on there, and let's put the compress on. Let's see what the let's put that after everything here, and we're going to use the multiband just to smooth things out. Sometimes the multiband sounds really nice. Just slow it down a little bit. Alright, so we have some sort of basic sound. Let's just try that before the reverb. Yeah, we'll have it after the reverb there, just preference. So that is the basic sound there. So what we can do from here is we can have the envelopes control just the white noise, so there's no white noise and it goes into noise. We can use some of these to modulate the wavetables, so like say FM from B as an example. See how nice that sounds if you just had a little bit on there. Let's just attach this and say from there to there. And trig. 1 bar. So you can have some really wacky effects there. So that could work quite nicely there, especially if you bring that back. Let this one take over a bit. Let's give this one octave down. A little bit too muddy. We'll add a sub in there. See, that sounds really nice. I prefer it without the sub because I'm going to put my own sub in there. But that is basically how I would approach doing just a simple, like, full-on saw pad. Let's just have a listen to how it sounds against all of this that is happening here. So we'll have this at full volume. Okay, so there's a little bit too much top end. Can control that with EQ, but I'm just going to use the built-in EQ here. Just going to shave a couple of dB off there. Because I could bring it down with this, but instead of drastically changing the sound, I'm just going to use that to kind of bring it under control. Alright, so it sounds pretty nice there. And then if we add the bass lines in here and get rid of the melody. Okay. So just off screen here, all I'm doing is adding some kickstart to the pads. So let's just put it at full volume and see what we like best. About 38 sounds good. And just to balance it in the mix a bit. Obviously there's loads of processing that I have to do, but there you go. That is a synth pad. Let's just save that, and then you'll be able to see this in the description below for a free download. So let's go to 2019, and I'm going to call these free. Let's call them free trance presets. Right, so we'll call this pad. YT vote, YouTube vote, so I know exactly what it is when people are asking if links don't work. So yep, you can grab that in the description right now. just going to make sure there's nothing else I can add into there. Right, so we've created a pad, just to recap, using the basic shapes in both oscillators, and we've picked the saw wave, and we've cranked the unison up to full on both to go just totally overboard, and then balance the detunes using the blends to either let the initial kind of notes come through before the unison or more of the unison to increase the detune. And then we've used a bit of modulation, so we're using the FM frequency modulation from oscillator B to control the sound of oscillator A to add a little bit of a weird texture. We've put it through a filter at low 12, maybe might sound better at a low 18, maybe it's just a little bit too gentle, but you've got that option to cut it off as well. You could attach that to a macro, so you could just like go here and just filter that down. So then your macro is controlling the... Would help if we had the pad on here. So you have some nice control there, could probably have it to there. And then we've added some white noise on the top, that's also controlled through the filter. Optional sub there if you want to turn it on, it's entirely up to you, but I usually add the sub in after. And then to give it its classic pad sound, we've just slowed the attack down just on the volume overall on the plugin. We've not used any of the other envelopes, and we've used LFO1 to modulate that frequency modulation. So that's everything for that page, and then we've hit the effects and we've put a flange to add some pace and movement on the pads so they're not just static hitting notes. Reverb to give it presence in the track and its own place. Compressor to really bring out some of the details using the multiband, and then just a bit of control on the EQ. And that is it. That is everything to create the pad. You can have that for free. And this is probably going to stay in there. I'll probably maybe do a few tweaks when I add another one in. But that is the preset you can download now. So thank you very much for watching. If you did enjoy the video, if you hit the like button, hit subscribe, hit the bell icon so you can see everything that I post, including these voting polls, which are up every week, just so you can have your say further and obviously get a weekly video with your say. And finally, I just want to say thank you to everybody. We hit over 3,000 subs the other week. And I really want this channel to grow more and more to obviously put out better content. There are a couple of things in the making, in planning. One of them relates to starting to review products. So hopefully that'll get kick-started in the next month or two. So you'll see something starting to roll out then. But in the meantime, just keep on watching. This is the thing that's really helping me grow. People are saying you haven't got enough views, and it's because I'm trying to organically grow the channel. I'm not pumping money into it and trying to force advertising and stuff like that. I'll do the odd thing on Facebook, but everything is growing organically on YouTube. So all your interactions are the things that help other people see these tutorials and learn some new things. Alright, so thank you very much for watching the video, and I will see you in the next one.